Hello and welcome to the State of the Fleet Industry, a weekly video series produced by Automotive Fleet magazine. I'm Mike Antich, editor of Automotive Fleet, and today I'd like to examine what's occurring in the fleet industry for the week of September 21, 2020. And I'd like to start our discussion today by examining what's occurring in the way of fleet ordering for the 2021 model year. But since we're producing a weekly report, we can only view incremental changes as they're occurring in the marketplace. And it's not like we can fast forward and see how the movie ends. We need to follow the market as the market is evolving. And as we look at the market, it definitely looks like we're off to a slow start in terms of 2021 ordering. Now, obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic is having a major impact in that area, and we know from our own studies a quarter of the commercial fleets are reporting that they will be acquiring fewer vehicles in the 2021 model year. So while the anticipation is that commercial fleet sales will be down, the question is how much? And there's still a lot of variables that are involved in that equation. First of all, many fleets still have not locked down their budgets fully. And there's a lot of talk about downsizing and right-sizing, but I've yet to see any fleet that's actually executed on this. And likewise, there's a lot of talk about investigating driver reimbursement as a transportation option, but I've yet to see any major fleet pull the trigger on this. Now, what does come to mind is Unilever. Unilever is a major company that has been shifting towards reimbursement, but their reimbursement initiatives have been going on now for several years and precedes the COVID-19 pandemic. The key thing is I've yet to see any major fleet that's really made the decision, the corporate decision, to move in this direction. A lot of talk, but not a lot of execution. This is a complex industry. We're involved in a number of different industries, and there are many factors that come into play. In fact, if you look at the fleet ordering cycle, you really can break it up into two different cycles. You have your fall orders and you have your spring orders. And as we approach October, fall ordering does seem to be down. A lot of reasons for that. Many companies are still working remotely. A lot of customers that you call on, they're still uncertain as to whether they're going to be allowing individuals to physically come to their premises, if they are even at their premises. And the preference seems to be virtual communication. The question now is, are these permanent changes, or are they more transitory changes as we work our way through this pandemic? And sometimes it's good to look at history to see how these changes might play out, especially when we're dealing with unprecedented events such as this. Now, admittedly, history does not repeat itself, but as they say, history does rhyme. And the closest event that we have in terms of recent memory that comes anywhere near the pandemic was the 2008-2009 credit crisis. And it was a dramatic impact on the fleet industry. There was a dramatic downturn in fleet ordering, but there was a surge in ordering volume that following year. So that's hopefully an area where there may be some rhyming with how we emerge from this pandemic. And many people that I talk to believe that this may indeed be the case, and they're anticipating that we are going to be having a strong spring ordering market, especially as we enter into the 2021 calendar year, and a lot of companies start to see the economy and their businesses recovering. But as we said, it's a complex industry, a lot of variables. We don't work and approach the industry in a uniform fashion. And the reason I bring that up is based on our past studies, it definitely looks from a fleet perspective as if we're going to have what's called a K recovery. You hear a lot of talk about a V recovery, where it's a rapid downturn, rapid increase, or rapid recovery. A K recovery indicates that you have two levels of recovery. One, you have some companies that are going to do really well, other companies that are going to take longer to recover. And we're definitely seeing this in our surveys that we produce. In fact, 14% of the commercial fleets that are out there are reporting to us that they don't anticipate that their business activity will return to pre-COVID levels until calendar year 2022. So this is definitely a case where that goalpost is being moved further out. And that number is increasing. But nonetheless, we still have 1/3 of the businesses out there that are reporting that they've accelerated their recovery, and that increasingly they anticipate 2021 to be a strong year. But many companies are deferring their ordering. A lot of companies are taking a wait-and-see approach to see how the economy evolves, what their future business is going to be like in the new calendar year. We're in the midst of a pivotal election time, so there is a lot of uncertainty that's happening. And where decisions can be put off, I think they will. And a lot of companies, if they don't need to make a decision, will defer that decision till 2021. But when you talk to fleet management companies in general, a lot of companies are looking at a stronger spring ordering cycle. Many companies are looking at other variables that are out there, and these are good barometers. One of the positive barometers is you look at maintenance transactions. Fleet maintenance transactions are up. What does that mean? That means that fleets are out there operating their vehicles. Those vehicles are on the road conducting business. Same thing if you look at fuel transactions. Fuel transactions have definitely improved. And then other areas to look at that are positive signs, and in my view at least, is that you still have certain vehicle classes that are in short supply. For instance, if you're looking to buy medium-duty trucks, chassis, it's a real challenge to find product out there. Likewise, van orders are exploding, and that's primarily because of the strong demand from last mile delivery fleets, strong demand out of the construction industry, which is emerging out of this pandemic very, very strongly. Likewise, if you're looking to buy something out of stock, if a vehicle is totaled in an accident, you need to get a vehicle on the road quickly, there's a severe shortage in terms of out of stock purchases for fleet customers. There's a low inventory on dealer lots. One, inventory is low to begin with. Retail demand is still strong in that area. This is squeezing out fleets. Fleets are having difficulty finding vehicles out of dealer stock, and when they do find vehicles, they're definitely over-spec'd and beyond their needs. So, the cost of out-of-stock purchases are increasing, and the availability has decreased. In many ways, that's a positive sign towards the overall economy. And also, if you're talking about dealerships, that's one area that I've heard complaints. Dealerships have not been as fast in bringing back employees as other industries. They're still working on a reduced staff, and in many cases, the people that we used to deal with that handled the fleet business at these dealerships are no longer there. So, to recap, I believe that these shortages and demand for these products are positive indicators that business demand is increasing. And with that, I'd like to conclude my State of the Fleet Industry presentation for the week of September 21. And with that, thank you for listening.